Hello, everyone, and welcome to Goals and Scheduling. So, this is a series that I'm putting together for all of you masterminders out there because I want you to be able to have the tools that are going to allow you to set your goals and function really, really well and get the best and most amazing results from being in these masterminds. And we're really, really happy to have you here. So, today we're going to be talking about goals and scheduling. And I want you to never have to feel like you don't know what you should be doing again. So, I'm going to share with you a strategy that I use. Feel free to tweak it in any way, change it in any way, do whatever it is that helps you function in the way that it best suits you. But this is what I use, and I hope it gives you some inspiration. Now, we need to start by having a look at our goals. Now, I like to look at 10 years, 1 year, or 6 months, 1 month, and 1 week. Now, if you haven't seen the video already, or if you're having any trouble with setting your goals, and some of you may, and that is completely normal, completely fine, and we can definitely help you get past that, then make sure you watch the goal setting video in the member section, or you can book a session using the link in the description. And then we'll give you some tools that will allow you to find your purpose and to set your goals and definitely help you achieve them. But don't worry if that's what you need because we can help you out with that. Now, once you've got your goals for 10 years, 1 or 6 months, 1 year or 6 months, you've got the 1 month and you've got your 1 week goals, then we're going to start looking at areas of life. And this is the order that I put them in because I think this is the most important order. And that is your relationship with yourself, your health, your intimate relationship, your relationship with family and friends, education, career or business, recreation, and finance. Now, the reason I say that this is the order is because if you don't have a good relationship with yourself, you can't look after your health. When you're not looking after your health and you're not having a good relationship with yourself, you can't invest and have a good intimate relationship. When you don't have a good intimate relationship, then you can still have good relationship with family and friends, so they're about equal. But when you have that, then education, and you need an education to have a good career and a business, and then you need some recreation as well, and then the finance will look after itself. So I put that one last, which is probably the opposite to everybody else in the world. Okay, so this is my sample monthly goal. So this is a goal for September. Obviously, it is the September goal for 2018. And this is just a brainstorm. This is the idea that I came up with when I was making my goals. It's a couple of ideas. It is based on those 7 areas. It is somewhat refined, but it is not ready to actually turn into tasks yet. And so that's what we're going to have a look at right now. So if you did need to read that, you can go back and pause and read that goal. But I want to start looking at breaking it down to week form. So I'm going to start off with each and every single area. So relationship with self. I reread my September goal and I had a good think about what that meant, what the whole thing meant for my relationship with myself. And I said, I want to have positive self-talk and gratitude before sleeping because that's going to help my relationship with self. And it is based on that weekly goal. And it will get me a step closer to achieving that weekly goal so that by the end of the week, I will have achieved my goal. Now, the second one is a return to minimalism. So, for some of you, you may know that minimalism was a really important thing to me, and it still is. So, I'm returning to it because I haven't had a lot of time for it. So, I'm going to put it back into my schedule. And so, those are my two relationship with self goals. Now, next is health. And for me, I put running daily because obviously I have, if you saw in the September goals, you would have seen that I had running an Ironman. Now I've been swimming weekly, but I want to run daily. And I also have been intermittent fasting and I want to continue with that. So I've put intermittent fasting because I've run into a couple of challenges with it and I want to improve how I am intermittent fasting. So my main challenge with that has been not eating sufficiently. I've been fasting practically all the time as opposed to eating anything at all. Okay, now, intimate relationships. So for me, I put the two goals as list of fun activities in order to be able to do those with my partner and increase my income to move to our dream place. So we're very happy where we are, but we want to move up and do even better. So increase the income to move to our dream place. And as soon as we do that, my partner will be very happy with that. So those are the two intimate relationship goals. Relationship with family and friends, schedule time for mastermind and friend outings, and make a list of people to message, and that's going to be 5 a day. And I already call my mother every single day, so that one is already a lot better than it has been in the past, because I used to only call my mother once a month at one stage. So she's being called once a day now, so that is really good. So these are the ones that I want to focus on for this week. Okay, education. So read 10 minutes a day. So I've been reading every day, but probably not 10 minutes a day. So really set that time for 10 minutes every single day and increase the reading speed to 800 words per minute because I'm sitting at about 700. I want to increase that by 100 and then the week after another 100 until I get to 1,000 or 1,400 is the ultimate goal. But if I can get to 1,000, then I'm going to be very, very happy. Okay, Korea. And remember, very, very important, this is completely different for everybody. So don't use my goals to compare them to your goals. My goals are going to be different. I'm at a different area and stage in my life, and you are doing your thing. I'm interested in my things, and we are all different. So, Korea. So here I've got a few more, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But my goal is to have 5 masterminds of 8 paying people at $67 per week each. And I'm going to do that through webinars, small shopping centers, and joint ventures. So I've also specified that a little bit further. Weekly presentations. So I want to have at least one presentation a week and look for opportunities for those, and then create a YouTube channel. And the financial goal around that is to have an income of 2,680, which is obviously 5 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 67. Then the expenses are going to be 1,500 for overheads, which includes commissions, venue, and catering. Then that's going to leave 330 per week, which is used to grow the mastermind for marketing. And then I'm going to give myself 880 out of that for the 10 hours of time and effort that I'm putting into it. Because obviously, if I do this without anything, then at the stage where I'm at, that is not good just yet. And obviously, there's also more investing in other things that I want to do. And I want to keep learning and growing and going to seminars in order to be able to give even more value to the masterminds. So earning more is going to give me those opportunities, which will allow me to give back even more. So again, don't worry about what your goals are compared to mine. And there is no right or wrong answer. There is no being egoistical in that sense. There is no, you shouldn't be materialistic. Whatever your goals are your goals. If you like Ferraris, you like Ferraris. If you like saving mammals, you like saving mammals. If you like whatever it is that you desire is the right thing for you. And there's a reason why you have that feeling. So don't let that hold you back. Okay. Recreation. So mine this week is something fun and exciting every day based on an internet search for exciting new things to do. And I've already started researching this one today, so I'm very excited about this one. I'm looking to put a Facebook Live up every day of me doing something new and exciting that I haven't done before. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. This is just what I've decided that I want to do. Okay, and finance, last but not least. Re-implement my jar system and deposit $440 into the new version of my jar system. Now, if you don't know what the jar system is, then you can see the video on the jar system in the members section, and then that will tell you what that is and how you can implement it for yourself. Oh, and I broke this one down. So weekly stock research club based on cash flow players that are in Ego My Friends Club. And let's have a look. More consistent monthly investing sessions. And then I want to add later monthly amounts. So for now, I just want to get more consistent in my investing sessions. and then I'm going to add an amount later on. And then, okay, make sure that all the goals include dollar amounts where applicable, but we'll talk about SMART goals right now. So it needs to be specific, needs to be measurable, it needs to be achievable, it needs to be realistic, and it needs to be time bound. So the more specific, so the dollar amount, the amount of weight in kilos, in stones, in pounds, whatever it is that you use, it needs to be a really specific goal. It needs to be measurable. So that's why it needs to have a dollar amount or a kilo amount or whatever you are working on. Because if it's not measurable, you can't see if you've made any progress towards that goal or not. It needs to be achievable. So it needs to be something that either somebody has done before or you need to have a vision for being able to achieve it. Let's not put levitate into the mix because that's probably not achievable right now unless we discover how to do that. Maybe you have a theory, feel free to give it a go. But in this case, we're looking at achievable goals. It needs to be realistic. It needs to be something that you believe that you will be able to attain. So don't put $1 million in a week if you don't think that's possible for you. In that case, maybe make it $10,000 by the end of the month, perhaps. If that is realistic to you, then go with that. But don't do something that you don't believe is going to be possible for you. So when we're looking at weekly goals, something realistic in that week. If we're looking at yearly goal, it might be a stretch goal and something that you might not necessarily believe fully. But as you break it down into weekly, it really needs to be realistic in order to be able to then achieve the unrealistic goal at the end. And it needs to be time bound. You need to put a date for when you're going to achieve these things. So obviously, all of the ones that I have just mentioned, they are all going to be by the end of this week. So, very good. Now, I've gone through all of my goals just to be able to show you how I've broken it down and the kinds of goals that I have. Again, don't compare yours to mine. Don't copy mine, but use them as an example for coming up with your own. So once we have our goals, we're going to look at the major and minor goals. So we're going to look at, say, about 3 major daily tasks. And then everything else is going to be at least one task throughout the week. So whatever is major, we want to do that on a daily basis. Anything else is going to at least be once a week. You might have 2 tasks a week, 3 tasks a week. You could have more. However, your major goals, you want to have at least one task daily, and everything else doesn't have to be every single day. Now, when you get better at the process of managing your time, energy, and priorities, because that's what time management really is, it's energy and priority management, then you're going to be able to do more major goals. But for now, I want you to stick to just 3. Now, my example is going to have more than that, so don't copy me just because I'm doing it. I want you to really focus just on 3 to start off with, and as you get better at this, you're going to be able to add more major goals so that you can achieve your goals more rapidly. Okay, so start with 3, as I said, and they are mostly daily goals. What have I written here? Start with 3. Mine are mostly daily goals, and I have the time for this. Okay, so that made no sense. However, what I'm saying is that I have more than 3. So if your majors are all short 5 minutes tasks, then you can definitely already immediately have more than 3. So if they're all just 5-minute tasks and you've got 5 of those, then I'm sure you'll find 25 minutes to be able to schedule those in. Now, my major goals. Now, I've gone through and had a look at all of the goals that I have. My major ones, the ones that I want to do daily, are positive self-talk, daily run, intermittent fasting, daily fun activity, business talks to increase income, track mastermind progress, members, and revenue, message 5 people a day, and 10 minutes of reading a day, speed reading course, perhaps. So that's just in brackets as a question mark. That might be the way I want to do it. So we'll look at more details later. And for some reason, this one has typed in the first 2 again. That's okay. My minor goals: minimalism, search for fun activities, weekly mastermind excursions, and invite friends and potential members to those excursions or events that I run. Implement JAR system, stock research club. So I'll need to get in touch with Igor for that, and consistent monthly investing. So again, I'll need to set dates with Igor with regards to what I want to do. So he's a friend of mine who runs an investment club, and they do stocks and options. Very, very interesting. I'm a member of one of those clubs, so I'll need to get in touch with him. Don't need to worry about that unless that is something that you want to do. Okay, so once we have our majors and minors, we're going to draw up a table like this. Now, this is just a section. It's going to be bigger than this, but we're going to have a table with times, and I like to break it down into half hours. You can do it smaller if you want to. You can do it larger. You'll see how it works in just a moment, and you can put multiple items into each little box here. And then the fun begins. Well, for some of us anyway. Put your hand up if you like tables like this, and the rest of you obviously don't so much. But this is going to really help you with your goals. So even if you don't like tables like this, push through, and I'm sure you're going to get amazing results, just like I and so many others that I know who follow the system do. Some of the most successful people. Okay, so first we need to add in our essential tasks. So for example, we need to add in sleep. So this is the end of the table. I've got sleep from 10:30 till 4 in the morning. You put in what it is for you, but we need to put in some of these really, really important things. And then we need to put in our get up in the morning and morning routine. And you'll see that they are all the same, for example. But then we have, for example, breakfast. And as I type that in, I realize that I need to, at some point, buy the food for this breakfast. So I put a memory jogger for me right there so that I can remember that I need to schedule in time for when I'm going to go shopping to buy the ingredients for the breakfast. So this whole system is very intuitive. It's going to give you the option to write things down, and it will remind you and jog your memory as to what it is that you need to do. Okay, and now I'm going to put in clients and other things that are scheduled in already. So these are all the things that I already know are going to take my time. So I can't schedule any of the new things, any of my goals in these times because I already have these clients locked in at 3:30 to 4, and I've got clients locked in from 4 to 4:30, for example. Okay, now I'm going to have a quick talk to you about tomatoes and chopping boards. So each block, and I'm just going to go back very, very quickly. So each of these little squares where you see client A and client B and client C, client D, each of these squares is equal to what is called a Pomodoro. Now, a Pomodoro is a 25-minute focused block of time during which you are working on one task without being disturbed. So each one of those blocks is each block is actually one Pomodoro with one 5-minute break. So 1 hour period is going to be two Pomodoros with two 5-minute breaks. So that is not absolutely correct so each two blocks is with two Pomodoros and two 5-minute breaks. So if you're not sure, look up the Pomodoro technique, do some research on that, and you'll start to understand what that is. It's just 25 minutes of very focused work with a 5-minute break and then 25 minutes of focused work. And it is a great technique for staying focused on the task ahead. There's a really great app called Pomodoro Challenge, and it is a gamification of the Pomodoro method. And when that thing is ticking, you don't want to be working on anything else. You are focused on your task because you can feel that the clock is ticking down. So I highly recommend that. Now, keep working on tasks, but you remember your priorities. So if you feel that a task needs a little bit more work, you can keep working on it. But remember that if there is a higher priority or something that needs to be finished by the end of the day or a phone call that needs to be made before 5, then stop and make the phone call before 5 o'clock. Don't get to after 5 o'clock and realize that you can no longer make the important phone call. And then the chopping board method. So if you've got a really, really big task that looks like it's going to take the whole day and you're going to miss the 5 o'clock deadline for that phone call, then make sure that you use the chopping board method and chop a little bit off that big task and work till maybe 4 o'clock, and then make your pre-5 o'clock phone calls. Then if you want to keep working on it after 5 o'clock, you can, but based on this technique, you'll see that there might not be room for it at the end of the day, but you'll see that when we get to that part. Okay, so the Eisenhower matrix might also be something that you find quite interesting. So you've got 4 different kinds of tasks. We'll start at the top left. It's urgent and important. Now, you need to do these and make sure that they do not come up again if you want to have a sane life. So the urgent, important things are things that have gotten out of control. So they were due this week, but you didn't do them when you were supposed to do them. You didn't do them early enough, so now they've become urgent. They're still important, but they've become urgent. So you want to get as many of these out of the way as quickly as possible so that you only have the next one, which is non-urgent important tasks. Now, these are the tasks that we want to put into our schedule. And that's what we're building up to. So this is the task that we want to have because they haven't gotten to their deadline yet. They're important. We want to get them done, but we still have time to complete them, and we're going to do a little bit every single day, or we're going to just complete them today so that we don't have to worry about them anymore. Now, if you've got urgent, not important tasks, then it means that these can possibly be delegated. So we want to see if we can get rid of those to somebody else. We may still need to do them at the very beginning, but these are the kind of tasks that we eventually want to see if we can delegate out because they're not really important, but they are urgent. And finally, non-urgent, non-important tasks. I don't know why we're discussing these. Get rid of these if you can. If you can't, they may also be things that you need to delegate. So things that, well, generally speaking, anything that's not important but urgent is really the only ones that you want to delegate. But if you put everything into these quadrants, then you'll start to see which ones need to go into your schedule and when they need to be scheduled. So this can be a useful additional tool to the process that we're talking about. Okay, now I have a very nice daily routine. It has taken me a very many years to come up with this. I think it's taken me 7 years to create this daily routine. I hope it inspires you, it gives you some ideas. It may take you some time to create your perfect daily routine. So I've been chopping, changing, moving things, taking things out, putting things in for a long, long time. So this comes from seminars, experimentation, and as I said, here is mine for some inspiration, and I hope it helps you to create yours. So my morning routine from 4 till 8 is getting up at 4 because that is what I like to do, and then I'll set a timer for each task so that I know how long each task is going to take, so that I don't end up taking a task that I only want to work on for 20 minutes and end up working on it for an hour and have no time for the rest of my morning routine. Now, you don't have to get up at 4 a.m. I highly recommend it, but you don't have to. And then after I get up at 4 a.m., I go for a walk and listen to my 10 questions. So again, if you're a member, you can see the 10 questions video that explains this technique, and you'll be able to watch it there. If you're not a member, get in touch and we can have a chat about that so that you can be a part of a mastermind and get access to this really, really amazing technique that has saved my life on so many occasions. And then I also listen to my goals while I'm walking as well. Then I do my one thing. This is the most important task that's going to make the biggest difference. Generally speaking, it's the one major task that's going to make me money, that's going to do something business-wise. It doesn't have to be whatever is most important to you, but if you're running a business, I highly recommend that this one thing be something that is going to generate income. Don't make a video like this that you're not selling, that is just content. I wouldn't put content, but I'd put something which is marketing or something which is sales so that you know that you are generating income from that task. And then at 5 o'clock, I do a Facebook Live for my 5 a.m. club. And then I run, take a shower, write my journal, read, and that's going to be 10 minutes from now on, obviously, based on my goals. And then I meditate, and then I do my most important business task after that. And then I have some kinesiology exercises that I do, and you may have something similar you may like to know about mine. So feel free to get in touch if there's any questions on any of my daily routine. And this isn't fixed in stone. It has changed over time, and it will probably continue to change as things work or do not work, or if I find something that's more effective. So don't feel as if your daily routine has to be fixed in stone. From 8 to 1, I'm going to be sending my partner a daily spiritual law, bringing her to the station or driving her to work, because as we speak, the car has been in repair for a long time. She loves that car and wants that car to be able to be repaired. So I've been taking her to the station instead of driving her to work. And business and goal-oriented tasks get done during this time. So non-human interactive, so paperwork and videos, etc., etc. Then from 1 till 5, it's going to be business and goal-oriented tasks, but these are human-related, so phone calls, meetings, etc., when I'm dealing with people one-to-one. Because the paperwork and those things need concentration. So in the morning, I am fit, I am able to do those. When I'm feeling a little bit less energetic, so I'm not really good at being very productive with paperwork in the afternoon, but I'm great with people in the afternoon because I need a break and I've had enough of all of that. So being out and about and being with people is great for me from 1 till 5. Now, it may be different for you. Experiment with it. Do both things. Do test one for a month, test another for a month. However, that is what works for me. And then any tasks that I've thought of during the day that are urgent, I will also do during this time. Non-urgent tasks, I'm going to schedule for the future. Okay, and then no more food after 3:30 for me because I am intermittent fasting. So that is just one thing that I have put in there. Again, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. That is just how my routine is set out at the moment. Okay, from 5 to 11. Because while I was making this, I made a couple of changes and I have been able to actually set my own routine. So you're actually watching me set my own schedule for this week. So a couple of things changed, and this is going to be my schedule for this week if you're watching this in the week that I made it. So that's very exciting. Now from 5 till 11, I'm going to do something which is enjoyable, fun, or unique. Now this can also happen earlier, but I've scheduled it for after 5. And then I also check my email. And then at around 8:30, I'm going to go home. And then I'm going to look at making this earlier when my partner is no longer working the same hours, or the goal is so that she doesn't have to work any longer. So when that's the case, we're probably going to want to set that a little bit earlier. But at the moment, that is 8:30. And then I call my mom as well. And then I prepare for bed and I stop using the screen. So no more computer, no more phone. That is banned at a certain time. And that is at least half an hour to an hour before I go to bed. And then I do some gratitude. I do a 17 seconds exercise. So again, see the video if you're a member. If not, you can become a member and you'll have access to this powerful, powerful technique as well. This is one of my favorite techniques and I use it multiple times a day. And then I do some meditation just before I go to sleep. And you'll notice that I had it at 10:30 and I've moved it up to 11 because based on how I've done my schedule this time around, it doesn't work any other way. So I've moved it up to 11, still getting up at 4. And just a quick side note, we sleep in 1.5 hour cycles. So if we sleep 1.5 hours, we wake up refreshed. If we sleep for 3 hours, we wake up refreshed. 4.5 hours, we wake up refreshed. 6 hours, we wake up refreshed, etc., etc. Now, if I go to bed at 11 and wake up at 4, that is 5 hours, but let's say that it takes me about 15, 20 minutes to get to sleep. Then I've slept about 4.5 hours. Now, for me, that is okay. I go into REM sleep very quickly. I am not recommending that you sleep for 4.5 to 5 hours. However, that works for me based on my sleep pattern, my diet, and a lot of other factors, as well as just having done it for many, many years. Okay, what else? So we need to add planning activities, weekly activities, and anything else that you can think of. So I did a little bit of brainstorming and I came up with things that I do regularly, such as call back missed calls, something I hadn't thought of before. I'm going to add that into my schedule this time around because that's just something that I happen to come up with that I notice that I'm doing on a regular basis. Post my daily goals in my masterminds, blogs and email marketing, stock research, etc., etc. Whatever you come up with, write it down and do a brainstorm of all the other activities that you're going to have to put into your schedule. So let's go back. We've got our clients already there, and we've got our evening routine. But now we've added stock market research on Sunday from 4:30 till 5. Now we're going to be buying breakfast, so going shopping from 5 till 5:30 on Sunday. We're also going to be buying breakfast on Monday at 5 to 5:30. But we're also going to be checking emails, so we can do two things at the same time. You'll see the same thing on Sunday at 5:30 to 6. We've got evening routine, but we're also going to be writing the schedule for next week during that half-hour block. And for the other days, we're only doing the evening routine. And then on Saturday at 3:30 to 4, we're doing mastermind emails. So I'll be writing to everybody that I haven't written yet in order to be able to encourage them and give them my suggestions on how they can implement their weekly goals and what I might have resources wise to help them implement their weekly goals. The masterminds are just so amazing. So if you're in the mastermind, I'm very, very thankful to have you here. Okay, and then we need to add in recreation time. Now you'll see 3 exclamation marks after this one. This one is very, very important. What happens if you never replace the batteries in a toy? Obviously, at some point, it's going to stop working. So there's a famous story about a guy who goes to beat a world record chopping down trees. And he hears about this old guy who's chopped down 19 trees. So he goes to this forest and he joins the other wood choppers and he chops down 10 trees on his first day. He's really upset because he didn't get even close to the 19. The next day he goes out and he doesn't take a lunch break and he only still manages to chop down 12 trees. So the next day he goes out a little bit earlier. The day after he goes out earlier, comes back later, and finally he goes out and takes no breaks at all, starts at the crack of dawn and keeps chopping until he's exhausted at the very end of the night. And he only manages to get to 17. And he's really frustrated by this stage because he hasn't gotten close to hitting the 19 trees yet. And he's sitting in the bar at night and he sits next to an old guy and he says how sad and upset he is about the fact that he cannot beat the record of 19. And the old man says to him, "That record was set by me." And the young guy says, "Well, how did you manage to do that?" He says, "I'm much younger than you and I just cannot chop 19 trees in one day." And the old man says, "Well, I sharpen my axe before I go out." So if your axe isn't sharp, if you have not rested, if you haven't had any recreation time, then you're not going to be performing at your peak. So I want you to put in a recreation time into your schedule. So add in anything else you can think of. So here's another example. We've got clients, but I've put in some recreation on Friday from 3:30 till 4:30. I've put in some family times from 4:30 till 5. I've put in some phoning friends on Saturday from 5:30 till 6. So you can see that I'm building in some recreation. Now, if you need to cut out some work time in order to put that recreation in there, then make sure you do that. Not to the detriment of the business, but usually it's going to be to the advantage of the business. Okay, and then we need to add day-specific tasks. So here's another example. So we've got our clients, we've got our recreation time, we've got our stock market research, we've got a day off the gym, and we have a meeting on Tuesday. We've got a phone call from 3:45, and that's going to be with the web developer, and I've set myself a goal of only calling them for 10 minutes. So I need to be prepared for that call. I need to write down what we're going to talk about and make sure that that call finishes in 10 to 15 minutes. Ideally, we're going to finish that call in 10 minutes because our communication is clear, crisp, and to the point, and we get the result in 10 minutes. Okay, so let's put this whole thing together now. So we have our relationship with self, and I'm going to color code these. So health, we've got intimate relationship, relationship with family and friends, education, career, recreation, and finance. So I have now created my whole schedule. So here you can see what I've done. So it starts at 4 o'clock in the morning. I get up and walk and do my 10 questions and goals. And then I do my one thing. Now I'm going to obviously schedule this at the beginning of the week and see if I can put my one thing for the whole week. Otherwise, I will do this at the end of every night and schedule in what that little X represents. Then at 5 o'clock, my Facebook Live, I put what my topic is going to be. I go for a run, which takes about 15 minutes. And then I post my daily goals on Facebook. I am going to journal and read. And then I do my one thing, which on Sunday is going to be speed reading and memory. On Monday, that's going to be write email marketing. On Wednesday, that's going to be write email marketing. So you can see I've still got Tuesday and Thursday open to do my one thing, whatever that is going to be for me. And then I do my spiritual law and I do my kinesiology, have breakfast, track bank accounts and sales. And you can have a look at this for the rest, but you can see that everything is color coded. So you can see there's a relatively good mix of health and recreation and business and everything else. So this is from 4 o'clock in the morning till 12, Monday through to Monday. And then this is the continuation. So this is from 12 o'clock onwards. So on Sunday, you can see that I'm swimming and then walking and traveling and talking to my friend as we travel back. And then you can see that I'm doing Facebook Lives and meetings, dinner, more meetings. And then, for example, on, where do we have it? We've got all sorts of different things. So on Friday at 12:30, I'm having my dinner because obviously intermittent fasting. So I finish eating very, very early. And then I make 3 videos. So I've got time for every single task that I've come up with, messaging 5 people. And there's everything that I've come up with during my brainstorm is in here. And then the end of the day looks like this. So going home, family time. Shopping on Tuesday is going to be family time and shopping. So it is together with my partner that I'm going to be doing that. So I've colored that 2 colors. And you can see that from 10:30 till 11 is also gratitude in 17 seconds, which is with my partner. So we're doing that together and I'm grateful for her. So I'm doing the gratitude together with her. Then the positive self-talk and the meditation is more for myself, and sleeping at 11 till 4. So again, don't compare yourself. This is just my examples, and I hope to motivate you with this and give you some ideas for what it is that you can do as well. Now, the most important thing is to then check that everything has been added. So make sure that your regular tasks are in the checklist. Now, make sure that this week's only tasks, for example, clients by name, paperwork for car sign, etc., all of those have been scheduled in. So by that I mean make sure you put in clients and which client is meeting you at what time during those client meeting blocks that I've got. That the goals checklist, that the goals are all in there, that I've got them in there. So for example, the positive self-talk check, I saw that that was in there. Return to minimalism, I've put in 1 box for returning to minimalism and sorting out things and getting rid of things that I no longer need. Daily run is definitely in the schedule. Intermittent fasting is in there. And as I was making it, I noticed the list of fun activities was not on there the first time. So I went back and added a list of fun activities to research that on Sunday and then when I'm implementing those throughout the week. Now we're almost there. So once you have completed your schedule, just get started. There's no room for perfection here. Now you're going to see what works well and you're going to see what doesn't work very well. So whatever doesn't work, change it and keep changing it until you find what does work. Experiment. Find out what kind of other routines people have. Don't just follow mine, but find out what other people use and see if there is something there that's going to work really well for you. Make sure you have fun with the whole process, even if you are not really a scheduling kind of person. See if you can find a way to have more fun with this. And if you see results, obviously you're going to enjoy it so much more because you see the results coming up. And don't take it too seriously. Don't stress yourself out over this whole process. It is not meant to be fixed in stone and you can't get away from it. And if you've forgotten to do one thing, it's the end of the world. Just move on to the next thing that needs doing. Or if something is very, very urgent, do that first. But don't take it too seriously. Don't stress yourself out. And have a backup plan for emergencies. So they did an experiment with people who needed hip replacements. And they had two groups. One group was not allowed to plan for the future. They had their hip replacements. When you have a hip replacement, it's really important to do a lot of exercise to make sure that the hip replacement works properly very, very quickly. Otherwise, it will not work and it's very painful. So at the beginning, you need to do a lot of exercise, but that's painful at the very beginning. So one group was not allowed to prepare for the future, the other one was. So they would pack tablets, they would prepare for going for walks, and they would pick up their partners from the station. But they would have their phone, or they'd have medication, or they'd do whatever they needed to have a backup plan in case they were in so much pain that they wouldn't be able to keep walking. So the group that obviously had the backup plan did a lot more exercise and healed and got better much more quickly and had a better result from the hip replacement than the group that didn't prepare. So always have a backup plan for emergencies. And I might actually go back on that for a second. So I think I've mentioned it in another slide, but when you have a backup plan, it could, for example, mean that if you wake up a little bit later than expected, then you only have a very short morning routine. So my morning routine takes about, I think it's about 3 or 4 hours, but I also have a morning routine which takes just 10 minutes, which is the same things, but I'm just doing it much quicker. So instead of a half-hour meditation, I'm going to do a 2-minute meditation. Instead of an hour run, I'm going to do a 5-minute walk around the block. And so I can now do this whole morning routine in about 10 to 15 minutes, which means I can still get the feeling that I've completed it without having to spend 3-4 hours doing it. So I can definitely catch up on 4 hours of oversleeping if I sleep through the alarm, which doesn't happen very often, thankfully. But if it does, then I've got the backup plan there. Now, for a truly magical life, we need to start outsourcing things as much as possible. So if you don't have enough family time, outsource the things that are boring or things that happen when you would like to spend time with your family. So the idea is that right now we're creating our schedule. And as you're making these in the future, we want to have a look at what you can outsource. So it's important to work on goals that are going to earn you more money because you can use that extra money to outsource tasks that you don't like or that are getting in the way of the family time or the recreation time or the things that you really want to be doing. Because there's a reason you started your business or there's a reason why you're investing to start off with. And that reason is what's driving you forward. And it's going to be necessary for you to make sure that the time is available for that. Because I see too many business owners or investors who have these great ideas for why they want to have their businesses, but then they get bogged down in the daily running of their businesses and they never look to outsource. So that's just a very important quick point as well. Now, I want to have a quick talk about getting consistent. So it takes 30 to 90 days to form a habit. So we need to be doing this schedule and following it every day for at least 30 days, at best 90 days. So I like to use a timer to make sure that every task that I'm sticking to the plan, that I'm sticking to the schedule. So if I've got a half-hour block and that half-hour block is for a meeting, then after half an hour my alarm goes off and I know that it's time to move on to the next task so that I don't miss out on let's say this phone call that I scheduled in, or that I don't miss out on something else that I have planned now because I'm supposed to be checking my email. So I don't want to keep working on the task from previously. I want to be checking my email now because my time is scheduled to check my email. So I set alarms in the phone, as I just said, for tasks that I forgot to implement on time. So we need to do that. And then I use a couple of different tools as well. So you've got Toggle, a time logger, and rescue time, and there are many, many more for tracking my time to see how much time I'm spending on everything. But generally, you don't need this you don't need these as much when you have your schedule and you're using the timer, but these are other useful tools that you might like to use. And you can ask someone in your mastermind group if they have any other tools that you might need in order to track your time, or any other apps that might be useful to you. That is what these mastermind groups are for, obviously. So every week you talk about your challenges and what kind of resources you need, and you've got 10 different ideas that you wouldn't have been able to come up with because people in your group are using apps that you're not using, or know people that you don't know. So use that to your advantage. Now, don't beat yourself up if you don't complete everything. I am a big believer in rewarding yourself and being understanding to yourself. When you beat yourself up, you drive yourself into a hole. If you are complimenting yourself and telling yourself that you've done some good work and that it didn't work out today, but you're going to get back to it tomorrow, then you're going to be motivated to get back into it tomorrow. But if you tell yourself you're an idiot and that you're no good, then you're not going to be motivated to do it again tomorrow. You're going to have this self-fulfilling prophecy that says that you're no good, and that will just force you to sabotage yourself the next day. So don't do that. Move on if you happen to have procrastinated. So, unless the task is urgent that you haven't been working on, as soon as you realize what's happened, an alarm will go off regularly, which can snap you out of it. So, if you've procrastinated, just move on or get back to the task. At best, you can also take a quick 5-minute break, go for a walk, come back, you'll feel refreshed, you'll have new ideas, and you'll probably be motivated to get back into it. If you continuously procrastinate on something, then there's probably a reason for that, and I suggest you have a talk to somebody about that, especially a coach, because they'll be able to help you get past it. Now, as I said, short and long-term versions of morning and evening routines, so that if you do sleep a little bit longer, or if you are super tired, because I don't want you to be not doing your morning routines or not doing your evening routines. You have to get to that 30, 90 days to get the habit formed. So even if it's a shorter version, your habit will still be formed. So if you are a little bit concerned about your time, then use your short versions in order to be able to still do them every single day. So you must do everything on your list every single day for 30 to 90 days, and it will be a very strong habit that is just the most normal thing for you. And then practice leads to competence. And when you're competent, you have more confidence. And when you have confidence, you start getting consistency. So make sure you practice. It's not going to be perfect the first time around, but practice making these schedules. Practice implementing the schedules. And as you do it more often, you're going to get better at it. You're going to get that competence. Because when you practice something, you're going to get better at it. And as you get that competence, you're going to feel confident. And when you have that confidence, then you can implement it almost perfectly every single time, or you're going to implement it really, really well every single time. And that will give you that consistency to eventually get to the 30 to 90 days. So you might fall over a couple of times in the first 10 days. But after that, you're going to have practiced, you'll have that competence, then you'll build that confidence. And after 10 days, you'll be able to start that 30 to 90 days to form a habit. Now, do I get everything done every single day? Definitely not. Don't sweat the small stuff. Aim to achieve a lot. Aim to reach your goals. And sometimes you have tasks that just take way longer than you think. I thought that making this video was going to take me maybe an hour, and I spent 7 hours on the actual making of the slides because I kept thinking of new things and I was making my own routine in the meantime, and it took 7 hours, which means that I almost didn't get around to all of the other tasks that I needed to do. But I don't sweat the small stuff. I aim to complete this. There was nothing else that was really urgent that needed doing today, so I just stuck with it. And obviously now it's taken me almost 50 minutes to record this video. So just the recording itself took as long as I thought that the whole process was going to take. So don't sweat the small stuff. I don't get everything completed every single day either. Know that tomorrow is a new day with new opportunities and you can start from fresh again. Okay, and I'm glad that it hasn't been an hour yet because I'm going to finish this in 50 minutes, which makes me really, really happy. Well done for watching. Make sure that you take action and implement what you've learned here. Don't copy it word for word. Don't follow my routine exactly, but make sure that you take action and implement what works for you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Mastermind group. And again, well done for watching this all the way through to the end. If you have any questions, feel free at any time. And remember that it's not what you know, but who you know. So be in your mastermind, be present in your mastermind, and interact and participate in your mastermind, because then you can achieve anything. So I'll see you at a mastermind really, really soon.